Indiana Fever is America's team. The haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. It's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
History has been rewritten once again. And if you guessed Caitlin Clark is the reason, you're absolutely right. She and the Indiana Fever have shattered yet another record. And this one might sting Angel Reese just a little more.
Just trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself on the back, telling myself that I'm still doing great.
We're not talking about a fluke, a hot streak, or media hype. The Indiana Fever has officially become America's sweetheart team. Not just a rising contender, not merely improving, not some plucky underdog. They are America's team. And this isn't just ESPN fluff. These are cold, hard numbers and sold-out arenas, screaming what the league can no longer afford to ignore.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
Caitlin Clark didn't come to blend in. She came to rearrange the furniture. While she's stacking record after record, her critics are struggling to keep up, running a desperate full-court defense against reality. But here's the catch. Denial doesn't cancel out demand. The more they sulk, the brighter Clark and the Fever shine.
WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games. You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance? 48%. That's massive. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with. Tom.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
Let's talk numbers. 41 out of 44 games airing on national TV. That's not a scheduling quirk. That's a deliberate broadcast coronation. The networks aren't guessing. They're cashing in on a movement.
Recent news that 41 out of the 44 Indiana Fever games will be nationally televised. I do not think a lot of people are understanding just how big that is. That is something that the WNBA players, WNBA media, WNBA fans have been begging for so many years.
And this movement, it's not temporary. This isn't just a viral moment. It's a full-blown revolution, and the Fever are leading it. Caitlin Clark didn't just elevate a team. She turned Indiana into the epicenter of women's basketball. They're the hottest ticket in town, and the media can't get enough. Headlines, cameras, coverage, it all points back to one person.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it!
That's a deep one.
Bang!
Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. Hey, come in and watch the other girl, right? Right?
Bang!
Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that?
Bang!
Angel Reese attempted a three this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder.
Bang!
You want some butter with that bread? Butter. Butter.
Butter pecan! Bang!
Let's rewind the clock a few seasons ago. The Indiana Fever were practically invisible, playing in front of half-empty crowds, ignored by networks, and largely forgotten by the league's own marketing. Now, they're the main event. So, what changed? One name, Clark. Her presence transformed the Fever from filler to front page, from bottom feeders to sellout stars. Whether she's playing in Indiana or anywhere else, fans are filling the stands.
Broadcast this season, ooh-wee, big-time doubleheader. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they meet in the season opener.
Indiana Fever put this out, all eyes on us.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale.
Caitlin Clark once again dominates WNBA national TV schedule.
The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
41 of our 44 games are on national television, the most television games in franchise history, the most national television games for a single team in WNBA history. I'm sure this is because of Angel Reese.
The Clark effect is so massive that 6 opposing teams have had to upgrade their arenas just to host her. Think about that. Teams like Chicago, Dallas, and Connecticut are ditching their usual courts for NBA venues because Clark is drawing crowds too big for their standard spots. And if you think that doesn't bother a certain Angel Reese, think again. She's probably wondering why the United Center isn't calling her name, unless Caitlin's also on the floor. But it's not just the seats, It's the screens. The Fever are leading the league in national TV appearances by a mile, not just more than usual, more than the defending champs. Clark isn't just driving storylines, she's driving broadcast lineups. This isn't gifted coverage, it's earned. Earned with numbers, earned with performance, earned with charisma and clout.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this. And instead of giving her credit, y'all tried to make it about, oh, y'all poo-pooing the old guard. Y'all never talked about the old guard like this. Nah, I ain't gonna let it slide.
And let's get real. TV execs don't schedule based on fairness. They schedule based on dollars. And Caitlin Clark doesn't just boost ratings, she obliterates them. She's a one-woman economic surge, a walking WNBA stimulus plan. It's no wonder every network is scrambling for her matchups like it's Black Friday and they're out of flat screens.
These networks are not thinking about hurting feelings. These networks are thinking about how much money can we bring in.
I believe there was actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year. Imagine being that delusional. Bang! People need to understand she saved this league. Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money. The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy. Time to be grateful. Bang! 93% of her games on national TV. She's like that. Bang!
Just look at last year. Some regular season Fever games drew more viewers than the WNBA Finals. Let that sink in. That kind of pull doesn't just elevate the Fever, it lifts the entire league.
Everyone trying to diminish the wave that was happening, the Clarkonomics that were happening, the Caitlin Clark effect that was happening, and realizing it is not only going to be good for this Indiana Fever team, it's going to be great for everyone. It's going to be great for every single player in the WNBA and also every single team in the WNBA.
And that includes teams like the Chicago Sky, the Aces, and the Liberty. Because, let's be honest, Angel Reese and the gang aren't pulling those numbers on their own. When the Fever roll in, suddenly they're on national TV, suddenly the arena's packed, suddenly the sponsors are paying attention. So while she's busy scrolling through Twitter and liking shady posts, she might want to remember who made that spotlight bright enough for her to stand in.
Liberty and Aces. They're going to clash here 3 times. All 3 of those are on ABC and ESPN. The Fever and the Sky, they meet 5 times. Caitlin Clark, the revamped Fever, they look to build on their success.
There have been 6 teams that have changed venues when the Indiana Fever come to play. All of these arenas are selling out.
Let's just call it what it is. Caitlin Clark is carrying the league's visibility like it's her carry-on bag. Everyone knows it. The league knows it. The fans know it. Even the jealous ones like Reese who pretend not to care. Yeah, they know it too. That's why nearly every one of her games is airing globally. Because whether you're a diehard supporter, a loud critic, or someone hate-watching in denial, guess what? You're watching. Clark is the main event, and at this point, we're not even just talking hoops anymore. This is big league business. The WNBA spent decades clawing for mainstream relevance, trying to crack the code for consistent viewers and revenue. Then Caitlin Clark showed up and cracked it open with a step-back 3.
Sigh, I miss the unrivaled already. They're mad. Caitlin Clark didn't play in that league. They want her out. They want you fans out of the league.
Angel Wilson's talking about sitting out for more money. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, hey, we're putting every game on TV for Caitlin Clark. Everybody wants to watch her.
This is the year that they want to do whatever they possibly can to show that they deserve more and also be profitable.
One of the worst WNBA fans and one of CC's biggest haters is already complaining. They don't like the game of basketball at all. They just want to support Reese. I've said the majority of her fans are not Hoops fans.
Let's talk numbers. Because numbers never lie. Ticket sales? Clark turned them into a cheat code. The Indiana Fever used to be the WNBA's forgotten stepchild, hanging around but rarely picked for anything meaningful. Fast forward to now, and they're the hottest ticket in all of women's sports. Last season alone, the Fever brought in over 340,000 fans at home, a 39% surge compared to the ghost town that was 2023. This was a team that couldn't even pull 88,000 just a year prior. Clark enters the chat, and suddenly, every night feels like a playoff game. And the wildest part? This explosion isn't just in Indiana. it's nationwide.
More people are getting on board. More people are watching women's basketball. More people are watching women's college basketball. Do not slow the momentum because of ego.
Caitlin Clark draws massive viewership and other teams don't. Caitlin Clark averaged about 1.2 million viewers per game, and the rest of the league about 400 to 500,000.
Teams around the league are scrambling like someone pulled the fire alarm. They're ditching their tiny home gyms and upgrading to NBA arenas just to keep up with the Clark crowds. The Chicago Sky is booking the United Center, the Dallas Wings are calling in favors at the Mavs Arena, Atlanta's moving into State Farm Arena, and Connecticut, they said forget Mohegan Sun and grabbed a spot at TD Garden like they were prepping for a Celtics game. These aren't just upgrades, they're evacuations. Because Caitlin Clark doesn't just bring games, she brings chaos. Sellout level, revenue exploding chaos.
Give me Angel Reese, give me Caitlin Clark, because this has been box office, y'all. The young guns, the young stars have come to play. Angel at Unrivaled, training with Lisa, Leslie, and Caitlin. We all know that girl. She lives, breathes, eats, sleeps in the gym. So I am so excited to see that matchup, those two, because anytime they go up against each other, honestly, the whole world shuts down. Yep. Everything shuts down.
And while some folks call this hype, the smarter ones call it what it really is: economics. Hosting the Fever is like landing a golden goose in a jersey. More fans, more merch, more snacks sold at the concession stand. It all adds up to more money. Clark isn't just growing the game, she's bankrolling its future. Every team cashing in on her appearances owes her a thank you note and a bonus check.
6 WNBA networks set ratings records this season, all Caitlin Clark. 23 WNBA games drew more than 1 million viewers. Clark played in 20 of them.
And then there's the merch game. Clark didn't just top the charts, she deleted them. Her jersey outsold the entire rest of the league combined. That's not just a breakout star, that's a marketing machine. Thanks to her, the Indiana Fever went from a regional trivia answer to one of the highest grossing franchises in women's sports. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a player. She's a brand with a jump shot. Want more receipts? Let's go. Fever games alone generated half, yes half, of all the WNBA's national TV revenue last season. One rookie, one team. League-wide attendance, up 48%. And more WNBA games passed the 1 million viewer mark in 2024 than in the past 20 years combined. So what's the common thread? It's not a trick question, it's Caitlin freaking Clark.
WNBA Draft and All-Star Game demolished their viewership records with Caitlin Clark. The Diana Taurasi draft drew 600,000. It was the most watched draft ever. Caitlin Clark's draft drew nearly 2.5 million. 374% increase of viewership. Fever quadrupled ticket sales after drafting Clark. Washington and Indiana set the single game attendance record of 20,711 on September 19 Capital One Arena. The WNBA's average attendance last year was 9,807 fans, up 48%. And keep in mind, that was really one person that added those 3,000 fans on average.
This is exactly what fans begged for. Higher visibility, sold-out games, actual buzz, and now that it's happening, suddenly a few people are feeling uncomfortable. Wonder why? Could it be because Clark didn't just join the league? She hijacked the spotlight and hasn't given it back?
Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever schedule has come out. We now know how many national games they got. The Indiana Fever is America's team, but the old WNBA fans are furious over it. They're mad. They're crying.
And of course, when someone dominates this hard, the Shade Brigade pulls up. Enter the drama. The media-manufactured rivalry with Angel Reese. Since draft night, we've been force-fed this fake feud like it's the next big thing. Every Fever versus Sky matchup becomes an excuse for networks to cue up the tension music. But let's be honest, this isn't a rivalry, it's a soap opera. You've got Caitlin putting up numbers, making history, and changing the economics of the league. Then there's Angel, stirring up drama with vague tweets, interview side-eyes, and enough passive aggression to fill a Real Housewives reunion.
The Atlanta Dream owner said that they were moving venues only because of a scheduling conflict. It wasn't because the Indiana Fever were coming in town. Like, they made up some weird excuse. Boycott watching the Indiana Fever games. You are only doing that if you don't care about anyone else.
While the media tried to force-feed a fake rivalry, Caitlin Clark didn't bite. She's not here for drama. She's not auditioning for reality TV, unlike a certain bricklayer we know. She's here to be the greatest. No subtweets, no backhanded interviews, just buckets, records, and TV checks with extra zeros. While some players are busy throwing shade and chasing headlines, Clark's chasing greatness. And spoiler, She's already caught it.
What's killing me is it's the fans that are demanding that these players make more money, but they don't want to support the very player that's causing that money to be made. They can't stand her. We know why. We watched the poor young lady get demolished last year.
And let's talk about that dusty, recycled, overhyped argument. People still saying she's only big because the media pushed her. Really? Because last time we checked, Caitlyn didn't beg for 41 national broadcasts. Networks begged for her. She didn't call in a favor to top jersey sales. Fans made that decision on their own. And she definitely didn't storm other teams' front offices demanding arena upgrades. The demand just got too real. Caitlyn Clark didn't ask for the spotlight. The spotlight followed her.
This is the national broadcast schedule against the Sky. It's an ABC broadcast network television game. New York Liberty. It's a CBS game. These are all going to be big rated games. CBS against the Sky. ABC against the Liberty. Here's Asia Wilson right here in the Aces on 622 on ESPN. Right here, ABC Dallas Wings. All the Indiana Fever versus Sky games are on big networks. One of these games is going to hit 3 million viewers this year.
What's worse is that despite the avalanche of success, some folks still won't give her credit. Clark isn't just rising, she's lifting everyone. A rising tide lifts all boats. Her presence is putting money in every player's pocket, giving visibility to teams that couldn't even sniff a camera crew before she arrived, and dragging the WNBA into the mainstream spotlight it has long deserved. And yet, people act like her fame is some lucky accident. Meanwhile, you've got Angel Reese throwing tantrums about salaries. Let that irony marinate for a second.
Whether you like the Indiana Fever or not, whether you like Caitlin Clark or not, it has gotten to the point where we can no longer deny the fact that they are the biggest draw in the WNBA, and they proved that all of last season.
Make no mistake, this backlash isn't about basketball. It's not about fairness. It's about bruised egos and broken illusions. Caitlin Clark has taken over the WNBA, and some people just can't stand the fact that she did it without the drama, without the antics, and without the approval of the old guard. She didn't wait her turn. She earned her spot. And instead of celebrating the moment, some would rather light matches near the foundation just to watch it burn.
We got an article from Front Office Sports. 6 WNBA teams have moved games versus Caitlin Clark in the Fever. Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden. Dallas Wings have moved 1 game to American Airlines Center. Las Vegas Aces have moved 1 game, and the Mystics have 2 games moved.
But guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many think pieces get written. It doesn't matter how many jealous jabs are thrown from the sidelines. Caitlin Clark is here. She's not just transforming the league, she's setting it on fire. The debate is over. The receipts are printed. Clark isn't a breakout star anymore. She's the face of a new era. The Indiana Fever? Please. That's not a team anymore, that's a phenomenon. The packed arenas, the broken viewership records, the sold-out jerseys. All roads lead back to Clark. The Fever are no longer an afterthought. They're the show, the league's biggest draw. America's team. All because one rookie walked in like she owned the place, and then proved she absolutely does.
The Indiana Fever will have more nationally televised games this season than the last 2 WNBA champions. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever get the most airtime because they're America's team, baby. Deal with it slow.
And while Angel Reese is still busy throwing side-eye and mood swings, Caitlin Clark is stacking milestones like it's light work. Oh wait, Reese is stacking something too. All the bricks she's laying across the backboard. But none of that will change what's happening. Clark is writing the playbook, dominating the headlines, and dragging the WNBA into its golden age, whether the old guard likes it or not. So now, there's only one question left. How high can this go? Because if Caitlin Clark's rookie impact is just the beginning, we might be witnessing the greatest era the WNBA has ever seen. Get ready. This ride's just getting started. Are you excited for the upcoming season? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.